It's your boy Yule.
I'm Margaret.
And this is Can We Talk About It?
And we are here today with a special guest, Sherri.
Hey guys.
She is an artist and businesswoman, and we're going to talk with her today about everything that she's got going on. So my first question for you is just take us back to the beginning. When did you realize that you wanted to be an artist? And then just kind of take us through your journey from then to where you're at now, your inspirations, anything that you kind of draw from when you're creating, whether that's your cultural background or your neighborhood or, you know, just your friends.
Yeah, it's like a long story, but
We got time.
I really remember probably like when I was like 5 years old, my dad taking me to like the art store, like not like some little like go to like a fancy art store. So I was like, oh, I want to paint, and he bought me like watercolors, sketchbook, and I spent like I think it was spring break just like doing whatever in that book. But I never really thought about it until high school. You have to fill an art credit to graduate in the senior year, and I was in the art class just doodling, and the art teacher was like, wait, you can actually draw. Do you want to be in honors art? And I'm like, there's an honors art class? No one even like so like I'm like, okay. So it was a smaller class. It was earlier in the day, so I got out of school earlier. I was like, okay, that's cool. So like she helped me perfect my techniques, and I'm like, wow, I can actually draw, because like my stuff actually came out like realism at that age, and I didn't even know I could do that until she pointed it out to me.
And just for people who don't know, what is realism?
It's basically like drawings or paintings that look like real life. So like I would like find like, they weren't really influencers back then on MySpace, but like popular people on MySpace I like really liked. I'll take like their pictures and then draw them in art class for an assignment, cool. And then send it to them like, oh look, I drew this for you, and they'll end up following me. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Oh shit, you were like in the early days of fan art.
Yeah, so they were like my finals, midterms. I'll just take those pictures and do that, and I just became the girl that could draw really well. I actually got all the art scholarships that year, but my parents, they're Jamaican, and they're just like, you gotta go to school for something for real.
You gotta
like,
be a doctor.
You gotta my dad wanted me to be an architect or a nurse or work in a hospital like they did, and that was not for me. So like the closest I could get to was doing fashion. I actually was in the fashion class also. So like, okay, I like design, but then I realized the money's in marketing, so I majored in fashion marketing. Didn't draw from like high school up until after I graduated college actually. And I had a dream one night, woke up, and it's just like a voice in the back of my head was like, stop wasting your talents. And I was like, okay, let me start drawing again. So I bought a sketchbook, started drawing, and I was like, okay, I still got this. I want to paint now. So then bought some paint, started doing that, and I was actually blogging with my cousin at that time, and I was like, we need to do an event. I was like, I want to do an art show. Make it a bashment art show, so it's like the culture right in it too. So we featured a bunch of like West Indian artists, even the DJ, he's Antiguan. And I was like, let me premiere all my new paintings, and honestly, like looking back, I'm like, these were like mediocre, these are trash. But everyone's like, oh, these are so cool. I'm like, okay, I could kind of do this, so I'm gonna keep on going. And then I started getting invited to art shows, and I'm like, okay, this is something else. And then meeting other artists, like, oh, I'm doing this full time. I'm like, wait, this is a career for people? So I started getting into that. It's not my full time yet, but I'm working towards that. I just draw like inspiration from like me being a Black woman, West Indian woman, my friends around me. Cartoons, are actually obsessed with cartoons, so that's why like a lot of my stuff is not pop art, not realism, because one, I'm impatient. Like a lot of realism takes weeks to finish. Like I could finish another painting probably within a week, a couple days maybe. But yeah, like cartoons, my friends, my mom, my ancestors, like that's where I draw my inspiration from, really.
Very cool.
In terms of like cartoons, what's your like stylistically, what's your favorite, or what resembles your art the most, like popular cartoons that we think about?
So Adventure Time, I could definitely see like my art. Like I didn't purposely do that, but I was watching a lot at the time, so it just reflected in my art. But that Bob's Burgers. I watch
Oh,
a loop.
Love Bob's Burgers.
And recently, I've been rewatching Sailor Moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like I love like the colors they use, and I'm watching the old version and then the new version, the crystal version, to like compare the two. My next project is gonna involve like colors and like that type of style.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I wish I had a voice in my head being like, you're wasting your talent. I just hear like, we're hungry, or like,
That's the usual.
Oh, yeah.
It was so weird. I didn't remember the dream. I just remember waking up and the fact that like you're wasting your talent. I'm like, okay, God.
there you go.
So
Sometimes you have to deviate from I'm hungry, you know?
yeah.
Margaret, we will just text you that, so we'll just read it next time. Same effect, I think. But no, that's really cool, and that's like super cool that you've been like part of events and done that. And but we also know that you've curated events. Art events too.
I actually started doing that in 2019, like the fall 2019. So the DJ that we actually used for my first event, we became like really good friends. Select the Jigga, and I told him like I want to do art shows for myself. He was like, all right, I got you. We'll do this together. So we've been collabing on the Art Mommy Link Up, because that was like my nickname for a while. And we did about 4 different events featuring like a small amount of women of color artists, just so they could get the shine that they usually don't get at bigger events.
Yeah.
So like they're able to network with other creatives and maybe even sell their art. Like a couple have actually sold pieces at these events, which they probably wouldn't be able to sell at the bigger shows. So
yeah, what is it like on the business end of doing art? Because being an artist is one thing, it's easy to be in your own bag and to draw in your own time, but doing the business end of it is a little bit different. And we know like you sell merch, you sell different things, so what's that like? It's
different from just doing your art like because you feel like it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it could get frustrating. Like, okay, I want to have a goal for the day, I'm gonna sell 2 pieces and then not sell anything at all. But honestly, it's been fun, because also when people buy your things, you get like that warm sense in your heart, like, oh my gosh, someone actually likes my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you actually want this in your home, you want to wear my merch, you want to have a bag with my art on it. Okay, cool. And then even going to my friends' houses and seeing them like with my art on their wall or on their fridge, I'm like, you actually love me like this? Like, it's really cool. But yeah, I'm still growing, and I have to also realize like the people I look up to or like think like, oh my gosh, they're selling so much, they're living off, they're also struggling artists.
Right.
Yeah.
So like it takes time, but we're gonna get there. But
Yeah. I was interested in hearing more about your other business. Besides just selling the canvases, you have the business where you sell like the ashtrays and the waist beads and stuff.
So that's Urban Ting.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I actually caught COVID, like in the beginning, like in March, like after they shut down, like 2 weeks later I had it. And my mom, again, we're Jamaican, so she was cooking up all the herbs and stuff for me to drink.
How much ginger ale did you drink?
None, actually it was just ginger tea. And,
the real stuff.
Like the real stuff.
Good.
So it's like the ginger tea, we start putting the garlic in the tea. I can't even have garlic now because of that. Like, but it literally, like, I wouldn't cough for the rest of the day after drinking that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. My mom, I don't know if she had COVID or a cold, but like she started coughing and next week and getting a headache. I was like, oh, nope. So instinctively, I just went like, okay, this works for this works for this, boil it all up. Mom, drink this. I don't care how it tastes.
So it was revenge mostly to make her.
I was like, you need to get. I can't take care of you like this. I'm scared. Like this one, no one knew what COVID really was. So I'm like,
you didn't know if you could get it again.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you need to like hurry. But like by the end of the week, she was fine, and she was like, why don't you just do this as a career? And I'm like, you know what? This is actually a good idea. It's the first time I actually agree with you on a career choice. So I looked it up into like herbalism. I'm like, all right, this is embedded in my blood.
Yeah.
So I actually became a holistic herbalist in September. I think I got my certification, and now I'm like working on my master herbalist. So I started formulating like beauty products and stuff that are still being formulated. But then I was like, I think the first stimmy hit, and I was like, I always wanted to try resin art, but it's an expensive art.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna put money aside, buy all the materials, and teach myself how to do this. And I'm like, okay, I could make ashtrays. Figured that out. I put my art in one of the ashtrays and put it on my story, and I got so many people hitting me up like, oh my gosh, I want one. I'm like, okay, I could do this. So that's where that came in. So like I have ashtrays, I have rolling trees, that could also be trinket trays for people that don't smoke.
That's so funny because I was gonna say I first saw your ashtrays because my friend Juliet, who you know, posted it on her story, and I was like, this is so beautiful. I did hit her up and I was like, I want to buy one. I don't smoke. I was like, I just want it in my house.
I want this.
But that's good to know.
Bought one of the OG ones with my art in it. Like she was one of my first customers. She's like, oh, nice. Girls keep doing this. So she was like actually one of my inspirations to keep going with it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Juliet.
Yeah, shout out to Juliet.
And then you mentioned that you did like the Art Mommy link up and stuff, and that's kind of, would you call that your brand name or something? How did it become your nickname?
Okay, so it's actually really funny. So probably like right out of high school, early college, going out, like I had like the alter ego lit mommy. Like it's like when I get to the peak of like it's time to turn up, or like, oh, lit mommy's here. So then I started doing art again, like, oh, art mommy.
That's funny.
So my friend just started calling me that as a joke. I was like, that's actually kind of cute. So I put it in my Twitter bio. And then we were thinking about like what should be the name of this. I'm like, okay, I'm featuring all Black women of color artists, and we're linking up. So like, okay, the Art Mommy link up.
I like that.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like how you ended up organizing that, and did you find that it was difficult to like kind of get people to come together and stuff like that? And why do you think it was important to like bring like women of color artists together?
Honestly, it was probably less difficult than I actually made it out to be. Okay. Like luckily, I did have Jigga to help me with this and like get me out of my head. But I honestly just reached out to artists I've met along the way, like in other art shows that I've done. So Juliet was part of it, Amy was part of it, and then even like just searching through Instagram, like, okay, who's a New York City artist that I actually like their art and they actually need like the promotion.
Was anyone ever like, when you DM them, like, who are you?
Honestly, there's some people that just like didn't answer, or they're like, oh yeah, I'm down, and then never answer again after they say they're down.
Right.
So it's like, okay, that was a little discouraging, but I was like, you know what, that's just how
I feel you. No, it's good you push through. I'm like bad with rejection. I feel like the first time a person left me on scene, I'd be like, well, never mind.
That's how I felt. I was like, and then just like, no, we need more artists. Keep on going for people. Or like he'll even say like, oh, this person's a dope artist too. Like we'll be at the events and like artists just show up and he'll bring like, oh, she's an artist. Like we can use her in the next show. Or we'll just be hanging out. We're at Savvy. That's the Savvy Bistro. That's where we're at. We'll just be chilling and then he'll just be walking around, coming like, oh, this is the artist. We could use her. It was like, okay, cool, next time. But I feel so bad because it was actually a bunch for the next time and COVID hit. But hopefully when things open back up, everybody gets vaccinated. Right. If they want to, I guess. But then we'll start doing it again.
Facts.
Yeah, and speaking about COVID, I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier about like, you know, how your experiences kind of changed because, you know, you caught it in like things that got a little different. So tell us, just elaborate a little bit more, like how has your experience working as an artist changed during, I guess, the last year?
It's crazy because the week of my birthday is when everything shut down, and that was our last, because I wanted to make it my birthday party / an art show, so like that was our last hurrah. And I painted the painting that I put out that day, that morning. Like I pushed through it, I'm on the phone crying because I'm like, I don't have any paintings to put out today. And my nephew's just like, you got this, just do this, it looks good, put it out. But it's just like all that stress of that day, I think kind of made me realize I need to take a break because I'm not enjoying the art as much as I used to. I feel like it's more of a task. So I feel like the whole pandemic and the shutdown kind of gave me that break I needed. I'm still kind of on that break. I'm still trying to draw inspiration from other places just to sit down and actually paint. I feel like it's also kind of procrastination. It's like I literally have new paint sitting in my cart and it's just like sitting there. But yeah, like it gave me that break, but it also, I started trying new mediums like the resin art. So I feel like that was actually a good thing. I feel like if there was no shutdown, no pandemic, it was horrible, but then there's also other things that came out of it, like me becoming an herbalist and then started experimenting and venturing out to other things.
So, just thinking back on your career as an artist so far, what has been your best and worst experience? And please feel free to talk a little shit. You could give us the gossip. You could
bleep some names out.
Yeah, we can do that.
I was like, let's get into this. Best, honestly, is the art shows that I threw with Jigga. Like, those, like, really put, like, that fire into my ass to, like, really get things done. Know, like, oh, I could do this. I could curate events. That's honestly the best thing. But, like, the worst, I would say, is, like, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but the art men in this industry, like, the pretending to network with you just to slide in your DMs.
Oh, 100%.
Like, things like that. Like, I'll be at an art show. It's, like, early in the career, too. Like, oh, you like my art? Like, oh, yeah, this is really dope. Like, we should definitely connect and, like, collab or something later. Let me get your Instagram. Right. Like, okay, cool. Do that. All of a sudden, all my pictures are, like...
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Not the pictures of art, just the pictures of your face.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like... Yeah, like, I didn't want to say it then, but you're really beautiful, and then you should hang. I'm like, oh, this is not where I thought it was going.
Stop it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of art guys are very socially awkward or can't take social cues. It's just like, I did not put anything out there for you to
think that.
Like,
yeah.
And then even when I reject you, you're still DMing me and sending me funny memes and nothing pertaining to the art anymore.
Right.
So, like, I feel like that's the worst. Or, like, thinking you're about to link with somebody to collab and it turns out to be a date you didn't agree to be on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happens.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
Like, I'm actually deterred from, like, collabing or following male artists.
That's valid.
Yeah, and you have valid reason why.
Y'all.
That's not a problem that I have. Like, no male artists come to my DMs and ask me out. So that's sad to hear, honestly. A bit.
It's funny because we did a live the other day, and some dude wrote in and was like, show a tit. So he also took one for the team, and he pulled his shirt up and showed the guy a tit.
Yeah, that live's still active somewhere on our page. So if you want to find my tit,
check it out.
It's there.
Like, one other thing is, like, I did, like, a huge art show, and as I'm putting my art up and, like, just assessing if it's, like, good, this man, he's, I guess, fixing the light fixture and looks at my art and was like, oh, you're dirty.
What?
And I'm like, what? And he's like, this painting, first of all, none of mine are, like, really, like, out there erotic or anything like that. It was literally my painting called Lemonade. It's a hot pink background with lemons around and just women laying down her legs. It's literally just her legs in the picture. He's like, this picture pretty dirty. And I'm like, there's literally a nude right behind you. But this is what you choose to say is dirty. Is it because of black women's legs? Because there's plenty of tits all around me.
True.
Yeah, like,
and it's an art show, right?
the art.
So I'm just like thinking it's like a maintenance guy. It was the guy that was throwing the entire art show.
Wow.
So I was like, because it's like one of those huge art shows you don't even know really who's reaching out to.
That's so unprofessional.
I was just like,
yeah,
I don't want to do this with you guys anymore. Cause
that's why it's important that you're curating your own shows. You're making also that safe space for, like, black women artists, because what the fuck?
I felt so, I was just like, what? Like, it doesn't even start yet. It's someone's critiquing my art.
Yeah.
And it's a huge show, so it's like you're already nervous, like, am I gonna sell anything? Anyone gonna actually like this? But of course the man fixing the light fixture is like, this is dirty.
Wow. Well, thank you for even speaking out about that. That is a terrible experience, firstly, and I'm sure some people have similar experiences. So
I've heard some crazy.
I don't know, but stop.
You hoe ass art dudes.
Stop. Hoe ass art. Yeah, hoe ass art dudes. Relax.
No, nobody wants to send you news for you to draw. Stop it.
Make that a shirt, like, hoe ass art dudes.
You should make it a shirt. Inspired by your experience. Here we go. I cop one.
That might be next one.
Yes.
What do you have coming up next? Like, where should we shop your merch and check you out?
Okay, so right now I'm actually putting more inventory and experimenting and actually transferring over to a whole new site where I can sell whatever I want, because I'm trapped on Etsy and there's a lot of guidelines. I cannot sell a lot, especially when it has to do with cannabis use, even though I'm not selling any. But doing that, I'm gonna have, like, a lot of self-care and body products coming out with that. I'm still on this break from painting, but I do have my art shop still open with like all my merch, my bags, my mugs, and art by sherryj.bigcartel.com. Urban Ting is literally herb and ting, HERBAND ting. Like really like what, how do you spell that? Because like they think it's just like the Jamaican accent. Like no, it's really just spelled out. But yeah, that's all I have like going on right now. Yeah.
That's cool. All right. We'll put all your information. Everyone can check you out. And thank you so much for interviewing with us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Definitely we'll be at that next art show. I swear not to bring any creepy art dudes.
Listen, bring your friends as long as they're not creepy. Like.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much again, and bye, guys.